Hello, everyone. We are live with another episode of Open Book. I am Billy Price, co-founder of Billy Footwear, and I absolutely love Open Book. I think I say that every single time. And the reason I love Open Book is because it gives us, as a brand, the awesome opportunity to celebrate the stories of those that we work with. We have lots of collaborations going with incredible nonprofits. And today, we're going to hear from Therese about the Tavon Learning Center. Therese, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me, Billy. This is a great opportunity to share our story. I am the founder and executive director of Tavon Learning Center. We are a nonprofit that provides learning and community programs for adults with disabilities. And the reason this all came about is because 39 years ago, our daughter was born with a significant disability. To this day, she does not have a medical diagnosis, but she doesn't talk. She can't walk. She needs assistance with all activities of daily living. However, she's a very incredible social person. And so when she was reaching her like mid to late teen years, my husband and I started to wonder about what was going to happen for Saba after she left high school, because high school was her community. And we looked around and we were kind of horrified to hear things from other parents like, oh, the kids just fall off the cliff, or it's a black hole after high school. And that was really scary. Our daughter was somebody, we always had her in the community with our other kids, going to their sporting events. Sometimes it did feel like she was the only person with a disability in the area, because you just didn't see that many people out there that were coming along with their families. So we looked around at what was out there. We saw at the time there were things called adult day health centers, which were very focused on the geriatric population, which was great for the geriatric population. However, for Saba, she was a young woman coming into her 20s who wanted to be with her friends and still be in the community. So in 2003, we became a nonprofit, got together friends, family, a couple of professionals, and spent 5 years trying to decide what was a program for Saba going to look like. And we really found nothing in our area. I knew I really liked the outdoors, which meant Saba was outdoors a lot. She always seemed calm and peaceful in the outdoors. And there's also that whole therapeutic side of nature and being outdoors. The other thing that I'm also a nurse practitioner, so health is very important to me. And being able to remain active as a person with a disability was huge. We heard many stories of adults graduating and sitting at home on the couch with their parents watching TV. And that just wasn't for us. I knew that wouldn't be good for Saba. And I honestly knew it wouldn't be good for me either. I've always worked and enjoyed my work as a nurse and nurse practitioner. So in 2008, we opened our program. We were very fortunate to be given 6 acres in Issaquah from some very good family friends who were incredibly generous. And so we started our program with 3 adults and 2 staff. And for the first few years, we just grew really slowly because we didn't have any models. We didn't really know what growth would look like. And probably about 5 or 6 years into the program, we started to dip our toe into doing some advertising by going to the transition fairs with the high schools. And our program just took off. It has grown exponentially to the point where we now serve over 100 people and have 80 people on our wait list.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Wow. If we can just take a pause for a second. There's so many things I want to ask you about. Well, first off, for the audience, so geographically, Issaquah, that's in the state of Washington. And that town is particularly dear to my heart because that's the town that I grew up in. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, grew up on the Issaquah Plateau. And
Okay.
so I loved, when you're talking about the beauty of the outdoors and it's a very wooded with hills, and then the mountains are in the background, and the freshwater Lake Sammamish is like just right down the way. It's just an absolute beautiful setting. And just the idea of being able to start the center and then seeing it grow as soon as people found out about it. I mean, I can see that so perfectly because it really touches on the need for a center like what you've created.
Absolutely. And so a typical day for somebody who comes to Tavon, our program runs from 9 to 5, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. It is broken into 2 4-hour blocks, 9 to 1 or 1 to 5. On average, people come about 16 to 20 hours a week. The majority, like 96% of our members, still live with their families, so with their parents. And so this is respite for the families, but more than just respite, it's also a place where somebody with a disability can continue to learn and grow and have friends and be out in the community. We have two sections to our program. We have lifelong learning and we have recreation. And so our lifelong learning program, we teach independent living skills. We have a music therapist come in. We have a dance therapist come in. We work out in our garden with 6 acres. We have a big garden. We take care of our animals. So we have chickens and cats, and it teaches people a sense of responsibility and caring for something else instead of being cared for, which many people with disabilities are oftentimes cared for their whole life. And so to feel that sense of accomplishment, to do something independently is so amazing. We have functional academics where people continue to work on those soft skills needed for employment. And in our recreation program, we swim, we hike, we have a fitness instructor. We do cycling with Outdoors for All, which is another great partner that we have. They're wonderful. Rock climbing. I'm not sure we've done sailing. There's nothing that we don't do, I think. And it's we have a 2-to-1 ratio in our program, so 2 members to 1 staff, which allows us to have a more individualized program.
Awesome. Well, for people to learn more and to see like kind of visuals, how's the best way for someone to find you?
Somebody could go to our website, which is www.tavoncenter.org. Lots of information about our history and the other programs we have. Besides the respite program, we have specialized habilitation, community inclusion, and community engagement. And those 3 programs are all part of the Washington State Waiver Program, which if you're a member of the DDA community, you understand those terms. It's funding for people with disabilities, very basically. But those 3 programs that I just mentioned are all done 1-to-1 in the community. And they work on very specific goals for that person. So that's another really exciting thing that within the last year or 2, we've just started doing. Prior to COVID, we did a lot of volunteering out in the community, up at Swedish Hospital, at the food bank, at the Humane Society. Those opportunities are just slowly coming back. Hopefully they'll continue. You never know these days. We take advantage of a lot of the museums, take classes, cooking classes, chocolate making classes. So again, kind of the sky's the limit. We really don't have any places where we say, no, we can't do that.
Well, that's absolutely incredible. And I love the fact that things are starting to open up again. I mean, it feels so good to be back out there being active instead of, well, there's just so much more, having more of that dynamic lifestyle, getting out there and being out there in the community. It's like, 1, it raises awareness, but 2, it just, I mean, I don't know, there's just a more sense of an adventure.
Right. Exactly. And that's where people should be, is out in their community, not just at a center-based program. Well, we have a really beautiful place. It's also very important to be out and about in the community as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to be there tomorrow. I'm coming to visit. So those that are at the center, be ready. I'll be there tomorrow afternoon. I'm really looking forward to it.
It'll be great to have you there so you can see it.
And I'm curious. I know the story, but I was hoping you could share how we got connected, because I know it's shoes based, but it's always fun how Billy when I get to hear how Billy Footwear lands on the radar of other people.
Oh, yeah. So there's another program sort of similar to ours in our area. It's called Bridge of Promise, and their executive director and I work very closely together. And actually, at one of our auctions a few years ago, she got a pair of Billy shoes from somebody in your organization donated to us. But even prior to that, I don't know how I had found out about your shoes, but I have been purchasing them for my daughter for, I don't know, probably at least 5 years now. And they are the best thing ever. That's what I can say about that. So, and then recently, one of our staff, I think, had then through Bridge of Promise connected with you again, and that brought us together once again.
Yeah, I think it was Manny. Manny reached
Yeah,
out, and
yeah.
it was so cool. I mean, because I had not learned of the Tavon or the Tavon Learning Center, and it was so cool when you reached out and like, I gosh, look into it more, and just like the stuff that you're doing, and just the outreach in the community, and like, and then having you touch on the waiting list to get in. I mean, again, it really touches on the importance of what you're doing, and I mean, I guess it needs to grow. Is that the plan?
So we had no idea of the need. We knew the need was there, but the need just continues to grow. In Washington State, the respite contract reimburses it. It just went up to like $21.80 an hour, and it costs us about $33 per hour per client to run the program. So we have a huge gap that we fill by fundraising and donations. And so, unfortunately, growth of the program means if we were to grow our respite program, it means increasing our need for fundraising. So what we are working on is there a way that we can, some of these other contracts, reimburse a bit better? And so is there a way to kind of even it out across the budget by using these other contracts and keeping our respite program a little smaller and be able to grow the other programs so people still have the opportunity by us growing those other contracts. The other thing, if this is being heard by people in other states fund their day services through the state budget, and so fundraising, they still fundraise, but it's not as vital to their existence as it is for us. And
Gotcha.
so one of the things that really needs to happen is our representatives need to understand the need and the importance of the day programs. I'm a huge believer in supported employment and think if a person wants a job, they should be able to have a job. It was difficult for people with disabilities prior to COVID. And I'm talking about, we serve people with all kinds of disabilities, but a lot with severe cognitive disabilities too. So people who would need a job coach in order to work. And since COVID, I think maybe only 2 of our people have gotten their jobs back. And the people who do work 1 or 2 hours a week. So they need other opportunities to fill their days. And that's what we provide, something that gives them community and a sense of purpose and just somewhere to go and belong and hang out.
Wow. Well, what you guys are doing is incredible. I mean, it truly is. I mean, so let me put the website up once more. Here it is. And I'm assuming on this website, there's also an opportunity for people to donate as well through the website.
Correct. Donate, volunteer. We love to have volunteers. We love volunteers in our program. We love volunteers in our garden. So if you're interested, you can sign up through the website.
Okay, awesome.
Or email us if you have more questions.
Awesome. And I know you have a social channel as well.
Correct. Instagram and Facebook.
And your photos, I mean, just scrolling through, they're just awesome. I mean, just seeing them out in like the various events and just out in nature. I mean, it makes me want to go outside right now, I'll tell you the truth.
It's a beautiful day for it here, finally.
Well, Therese, this was awesome. Before we sign off, I just wanted to give you the mic one more time, just so you can share what's on your heart. But this has really been cool.
Oh, well, thank you. I just really appreciate the opportunity to spread the word. The more people hear about the need for programs like this, I think the more eventually we will be able to get better support through the state. Oftentimes, unless you're really touched personally by the world of disability, you just don't know about it. And so getting the word out is so important. So get the word out.
I could not have said it better myself. I mean, one thing that we have found is just the power of word of mouth. I mean, just you tell one person, that person tells two more people, and over and over and over. It's very organic and can start kind of slow. But man, can you ever build tremendous momentum, and then the world just finds out about you. So that's one thing. But secondly, just the power of working together and building those relationships, because it's not just like a one-time relationship. What it is like you're building a lifetime relationship.
Absolutely.
And when we build those strong relationships and those strong bonds, and then we start sharing the stories, we really become that galvanized community with just a nice, strong foundation. And when that occurs, we really truly can accomplish anything.
I agree with that. That's people always say, how do you do this? How did you start this? And it was just a need. And so you just put one foot in front of the other and get it done.
Yep. Yeah, take some action. And I mean, we're going to trip and we're going to stumble, but we've got to pick ourselves up and keep going.
Absolutely.
Well, Therese, this was awesome. Thank you again very much for your time.
Thank you, Billy. I really appreciate it.
Everyone out there, this was another episode of Open Book. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will have another one coming up really soon. So, till then, take care.